Good morning, friends. This is called International Taxation topic, and in particular, the first chapter is the non-resident taxation, and we are going to see about the chapter in detail. So, international taxation. Why is it very important to know about international taxation? See, due to the advent of globalization, the world is an ever-changing place. We cannot live in isolation. We have to interact with other countries for trade and other purposes. With regard to trade, for instance, let us take the case of customs. Customs and import and exports. Customs is dealing with import and export. So, with regard to import and export, when a product is being imported to other country or exported to other country, we have to follow the international laws, not the domestic laws of a particular country. So, international laws are coming into place with in regard to that. And moreover, during the past few decades, the world has undergone a lot of change. There are new business models like e-commerce, where there is an always ever-changing interaction. There is a concept of e-commerce has completely changed the way a person do business. Tax treaties are always signed between various countries, and double taxation agreements are being always always signed, and it always undergoes a lot of changes. Tax treaties, double taxation agreements, and there are always the specified mechanisms given by the government for tax redressal, tax havens, and special treaties for specified countries. All these are changing the international taxation regime. So all these have an effect on international taxation regime, and the international taxation rules are always changing the landscape with regard to international trade. So it is always very much important to keep abreast of the latest changes happening in international taxation, and Indian taxation system has also uplifted and aligned itself to the international taxation system in order to accommodate the various changes happening in the country. So the current decade has witnessed some of the unprecedented changes in the world economy. The traditional real business is giving way to the internet-led e-commerce competition, changing from product enhancement model to innovative disruption model. The traditional boundaries of the countries are getting dimmer with seamless opportunities provided by internet and e-marketplace. So nowadays, the norm of the world is the internet and e-marketing places, social media marketing, and everything is gaining traction these days. So what the boundaries are slowly getting diminished. So everywhere any person can interact, and also they seamlessly there is a exchange of information, products, services throughout the world. So e-commerce, e-marketplaces, and all this internet, because of internet, all these are happening at a rapid pace, and therefore it is very important to know about international taxation. Global tax rate trends. At this stage, it may be useful to see the trends in the last rates over last decade. The changes are sometimes as a result of medium to long-term economic policy of a country, but at times a nervous reaction to the state of businesses. Tax rate difference over time and between countries can be very large and are capable of significantly affecting the post-tax return to FTA in a particular jurisdiction. Only when a country opens up its place, then only it can attract investment. So investments are always to be attracted by a country. So in order to attract the investment, tax rate is one of the specified area. So they keep the tax rates very flexible and attractive to attract the foreign trade investment. And similarly, the government tries to sign treaties with specified countries in order to boost up the local trade. So tax rates and specified policies, specified tax-free zones, all these are all a way to boost the business in order to attract the FTA into the country. When there is a huge flow in the FTA, it would automatically improve the economic condition in the country, drive the employment growth in the country, and for all these purposes, tax rate is one of the essential features. So tax rate prevailing in that particular country will decide the outflow of cash for a particular corporate company. Therefore, tax rate is always important to decide the attracting of investment in a particular country. Tax rate differences over time and between countries can be very large. The global trends in corporate tax levies for the previous decade show a continuing decline in the rates. Why is it so? Every government is very particular to attract the corporate investment to its country. Therefore, they keep it lowering and lowering in order to attract more and more investment investment from other countries. However, in India, the rate of corporate tax raised from 33.66 to 34.61 except in 2016, except for the years of 2011 and 12, where there was a slight decline. So, in generally in our country, the corporate tax rates are very high, and there was a very slight decline only in 2 years, and otherwise it is always maintained at a very uniform pace only. Various jurisdictions have attempted to incentivize investment through favorable rate, domestic investment policies, favorable treaty clauses, speedy and simpler dispute resolution mechanism, tax credit mechanism, etc. So if a particular country want to attract investment, what does it do? It provides very low tax rate for those companies. So for example, in some countries, for banking and financial institutions, there might be very low tax rate. So what happens? Every international bank trying to set up its foothold in that particular country. Why? Very attractive tax rate for banking and financial sector. Similarly, if a country want to attract investment into its country, it want to keep the corporate tax as low as possible in order to attract it. And in turn, there are some cases where tax havens are being formed because of very low exceptional tax rates. So various jurisdictions have attempted to incentivize investment through favorable rate. So when you keep the rates very much favorable, the investors are automatically attracted to that particular place. Domestic investment policy. So in order to attract it, the government may give land free of cost, or electricity, or other things at subsidized rates. This is another policy of the government. What do? They provide the infrastructure at a very low cost, or they provide it at a very cheap rate. Now, favorable treaty clauses. What is the next thing? Favorable treaty. So the government enters into treaty with the other countries. So when they want to improve the relationship with a particular country, they go into a very favorable treaty clause. So that is one of the way to attract the investment of that particular country into our country. So favorable treaty clauses signed between two different countries would always have a major effect on the economic scenario. Speedy and simpler dispute resolution mechanism. What if there is a dispute in the taxes? Where to go with regard to these foreign companies? So there must be a speedy resolution mechanism. It must be simple in nature. So then only the people, the foreign companies would try to invest in the country. Tax credit mechanism. Because they are foreign companies and they are investing hugely in a country, what is the tax credit mechanism available to them? That has also to be addressed by the government. To appreciate the current global environment and conduct business in a tax efficient manner, it is important to understand the key aspects of international tax. So this is the background. Why is it so ever-changing environment and lot of subtle nuances, and every day it is dynamic in nature, and all these are very complicated procedures. And in order to understand the global scenario and global environment and to conduct business in a very favorable manner, the important aspect is to understand international taxation.